What's up, everybody? Hi, Jay.
Hi, Brian.
Welcome back to the studio once again.
Yes, it's quite splendid.
I'm still trying to get used to this. I don't know. It's different, man. It's different. Hope everybody is doing well. Congrats to everybody that made it down to the NC and competed this week. I know we had some local guys down there.
Yeah, we had a pretty big group down there.
Glinka and Pat Keating,
Mm-hmm.
KBL guys. I know Keating was hammering on him day one. I don't know where he ended up today. I know the Tourney X was having issues today, so I believe they got that all fixed up. We got Mr. Brad in the house. Here we go. What's up, brother? Dustin Nichols, doo-doo.
What's up, Dustin?
Danny Davidson, what's up?
Hey, Danny.
Facebook user. Oh, you know what's weird? Oh, no. Christopher Wins-Jansen, but Facebook user says, hello, gents.
Really? Why doesn't it ever tell us that? Isn't that like the weirdest thing?
It's because we posted up in the group. I'm sure it's one of the guys from the noobs group.
That's right. Because I know there's a moderator for Facebook watching, so you guys need to fix that. Change that. We need to see names. Get on that right now. Thank you.
Now. I know the guys at the OG show dropped this image earlier in the week. Ooh. Don't know what that's about.
Jeez.
November 5th.
Is that the right picture?
That's yeah.
Are you sure?
That's what they told me.
We're doing what?
That's what they told me. Here, I got one that I can flash real quick. Ready? Oh, that's all you're getting.
Man.
One more time.
Oh.
Just saying.
Oh.
Just saying. Tune in.
Scary.
November 5th. Good things happening. Good things. And real quick, last little tidbit of info before we get to our guest. Got the meetup next week. We did put a tournament up on Tourney X. Search paddle, the letter N, Finn, no spaces. You'll find it if you're planning on coming down. There is still a few rooms left. $50 a night per person. You get your own bedroom on a houseboat.
Houseboat. You hear that?
Luxury houseboat.
I don't even want to stay where we're staying now that there's houseboats.
I mean, you can tie up your kayak to the houseboat.
I know.
Just saying.
It sounds like it's a way more like pleasurable experience to get really the full effect of the harbor life.
I think 11 of the hosts are going to be there. I think that's right. Cody from Jig Masters and JL Fuchs, country music star. He's going to be jamming some music Saturday night, and we'll have dinner for everybody after the tournament. Tournament's $25. So if you're in or around Tennessee or you want to venture out, join us. Well, the man of the hour. Should we get him in here?
I think so. I think it's about time.
You think he's ready? This is part 2.
Part 2.
So if you missed part 1 after the broadcast tonight, go back and listen to part 1. Let's get him in here. Everett, you got us, man?
I got you.
What's happening? We got you
like
audio-wise.
Better success. No video?
Dark room.
Oh, there he is.
Whoa.
There we go. We got your video. We're good. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm really good. I'm kind of anxiously checking my phone here to see some updates from the team, see how everybody fared, see what the cut did, that kind of thing. So I know most of that's been rolling out here, and I have not really been able to get a grasp of who all made it, who all didn't, that kind of thing. But I know Cup team from us, Team New, managed to 3rd place, which we're really proud of. So I did hear that, and I guess that makes us the top manufacturer ever of all time at everything. So that's pretty sweet.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, I know what the guys were.
In all seriousness, though, I'm excited. I really am, man. The guys worked really hard for the comeback they made today.
Yeah, I know they were sitting in what, 4th or 5th yesterday? I think it was.
Yep.
Yeah, right on. Cool.
5th.
5th. All right. All right. Well, team new hopefully pulls out a team W.
Sounds good, man.
Just saying. What do you think about that, Jay?
I think it's pretty neato. Neato.
No, I think it's going to be cool, man. I like that team aspect. It brings a whole different, unique style of fishing, I think, when you guys are all working together.
Yep.
So
As it should be.
For sure.
Teams out there pushing
Yeah.
everybody else.
Yeah.
I've had a couple pushes here and there. May not have listened to them.
Yeah, I was just
But,
going to say. The guy who's infamous for not taking advice.
That's right. I will fail on my own and graciously.
Oh man. Well, I know Jackson, that's been the talk of the kayak fishing community. Jackson was leading day 1. It looked like he was doing good today as well. I think when Tourney X was working, he was still up there in first place, man, and that's super cool to see. So I'm sure his dad's like,
man. He really is.
Yeah. I'm sure his dad's saying some prayers because kid wins, man. That's a few bucks that could go towards college.
Yeah, and he's a good kid, man.
Yep.
He deserves it. He
Yeah.
works hard. He's pretty genuine dude. That's
Yeah.
I mean, as we all know, all we have is our names, and
Yeah.
he's definitely making one for himself.
That's for sure. That's for sure, man. Well, Everett, welcome back, man. It's
Brian,
good to have
is my video this time and was going to do our test? Do I need to get back on my phone or anything? We good to go for the whole ride this time?
No, you should be good, man. Your video's lagging a little bit, but your audio's there, so we should be good, my friend.
Cool. Sounds good.
Well, welcome back, brother. How you been? How's things?
I've been good, man. Personal, it's been a roller coaster here the last couple of weeks, but we're getting on through a few things, and got a certificate of occupancy right back there behind my house for the little barn cabin remodel that I've been putting together for my parents. So they are good to move in probably this weekend. So that's been good, but it's been a big chunk of my last year for sure.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Little cabin, you said?
Yep. Yeah, I had a nice little barn back there, and last October when we found out about Mom's throat cancer, we went ahead and decided to pull the trigger and get some kind of permit pulled, and they were real generous with us here. Let's go ahead and kind of build a little house for them back there out of it. So we did a little expansion on it. I come from a construction background, so we did all the work ourselves and made it a little bit bigger and a whole lot nicer. And I'm actually really, really proud of it. Really happy for them. It's only like 1,000 square feet. It's all, real open floor plan and super high ceilings, which is nice. And 6-inch walls, which could come in handy up there. Or down here, it's really more in the summertime. It's nice to keep that much insulation, but it's going to be efficient. So
Very cool.
It's great, man.
Very cool, man. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your mom, man. I had no idea. So thoughts and prayers with the family,
She's
bro.
doing better, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you very much for saying that. But she really is doing a lot better. She had a PET scan yesterday, and they believe she's in remission. So
that's awesome,
great.
Dude. That's super good news. Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, 1 year almost to the day. So it's good news.
Heck yeah. That's awesome, man. The Lord works in mysterious ways, my friend. But super cool, man. Well, I know there was some topics we didn't get to last time you were on, so we wanted to definitely hit on some of them with you tonight, man. And I had talked to a few guys, prior to the first episode we did with you, and I was told I need to ask you about shoal bass. So somebody said
Ask
you.
me about shoal bass. It's a broad question.
I mean, I was told that you kind of have a shoal bass fetish, like that's your jam right there.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah, they're
I'm
really
go ahead, man.
no, the delay is killing us. I'm sorry. You go ahead and ask me your question, man.
No, I was just gonna say I've never caught a shoal bass. I've seen pictures. So I mean, first off, for people that are dumb like me, what's the difference between like a shoal bass and a largemouth or a smallmouth?
So anatomically, like we'll start with that. They don't age as quickly, like size wise, as a largemouth. So they're a lot more similar in terms of how they look and how they age to a smallmouth, and that's why we catch them in rivers mainly down here. But believe it or not, they're actually more closely related to spotted bass. That was something I didn't know for a long time. I always thought they were more closely related to a smallmouth because they look so much like a smallmouth. But yeah, they're just a really sexy looking, beautiful fish with a mean attitude. And they're only found in rivers, rocky rivers, primarily, and really only found, in Georgia or tributaries that are connected to Georgia. So, Alabama's got kind of a little bit, very, very little bit. Florida actually, does catch, a lot of our watershed. So there's some in northern Florida, but that's about it, man. As you get up into North Georgia, they become a little less common, and then like South Carolina, North Carolina, I'm not aware of anybody catching any up there, not yet anyway. But they are migrating. I don't think they were really recognized as a species until I want to say it was like the late '90s, maybe. I can't remember exactly, but pretty recently, all things considered. And now they're really considered, our trophy fish here in Georgia. They're super fun to catch, man. I mean, you guys know how smallies behave. It's very similar with shoalies. Not exactly the same, but I would say there's a lot of similarities there. And probably my favorite way to catch them is got to be topwater. I mean, you guys probably would agree with smallies. And shoal bass have the same just brutal mentality. They want to kill it, even if they don't want to eat it. They want to kill it.
Yeah.
And so they're super fun to catch. A big one, like a really big one, like bigger than I've ever caught, is in the 22.5 to 23.5 inch range, which is one thing that's kind of unusual. Like you don't normally hear of many river smallies getting to be 23.5 inches, but it does happen. But we've got a handful of guys around here that are all better fishermen than me that catch those true giants. Like pretty much every year they'll catch one or two. But I think our state citation is still 20, and so I'm fortunate every year I manage a few of those 20. I have I have a few guys that are probably in here that know what a personal grudge I have with the 20-inch closed mouth record. It's eluded me for many, many years for some reason. So close so many times, but that's just kind of that's my number for some reason.
So they could get pretty beefy. I mean, a 21, 22-inch fish. I mean, that's no joke, whether it's a smallmouth, largemouth, whatever it may be,
I was actually just going to comment, like, what's the fight difference between shoal bass, to a smallie? I imagine it's probably a hybrid of both, but maybe you have a better description than I do.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, and I haven't caught enough smallies to really tell you, but I mean, to me, they do have a little bit bigger mouth, and they know how to use it, man. One of the first things that you will find with all the big ones is the head shake. They do it a lot. I mean, they'll come out of our and just thrash with their mouth open and spit hooks like crazy. And as far as like the difference in the fight, I mean, there's probably not a huge one other than the fact that they love to just shake. When they jump, it's tarpon time. I mean, they're just thrashing their head around.
Nice.
But I mean, Sammy Pugh, who incidentally did a great job today with Team New and the Cup team pulling off a third place comeback. But Sammy is, in my world, a master smallmouth fisherman. I mean, he's a professional guide. And when he comes down here, he usually agrees that they're harder to land, the big ones are, than a smallmouth because of that head shake.
Interesting. So, like, weight-wise, what are we talking weight-wise? What does a 20-inch shoal bass weigh, roughly, do you think?
Because of our super hot summers, man, that number changes a lot. I've caught a 20 and a half, 20 and 3/4 that was 5 pounds plus or right around 5 pounds. And then I've caught one, that was 20 and a quarter, 20 and a half in the same river near the same area in the dead heat of summer, and it was 3 1/4, 3 1/2.
Wow.
I would say an average, is between 4 and 5 pounds probably at that length.
Well, like I said in episode 1 when we were talking about those stripers, man, feel free to drop me GPS coordinates at any given point in time. I'll be more than happy to take them.
You got an open invite, dude. Matter of fact,
all right.
I think
if that's the case,
the team new guys will probably be
I'm on my way
this spring. In all seriousness, man, it's it's like any river fishing. You've got your areas that have the numbers, and you have your areas that have the giants. And unfortunately, the areas that have the giants are usually small, and usually, a handful of us that are all trying not to fish on top of each other in the springtime, but that's where they're at, I have learned everything that I know about shoal bass fishing from just like 3 guys, maybe 4. Alan Ragsdale is a local guy, taught me a ton, used to be on the team. But there's a guy named Charlie that has just, I won't blow his name up completely because I don't want his inbox getting wore out, but Charlie is unbelievable, man. Like, for a guy that he's not well known, he has a crazy amount of knowledge about these things. Their buddy that won a tournament down here that I actually was the director for, that was a pretty good sized tournament 2 years in a row we had. Brad Case won at one time. It was like 120 anglers or so. I think we had around the same number the second year, and Andrew won, and he's another one that's taught me a lot. But yeah, man, I've gotten addicted to them really. In the springtime, I mean, I did start dabbling with turkey the last couple years, but March and April is big fish time down here for sure.
Okay, right on. So you mentioned like it's got to be a rocky river, so like main forage, crawfish, and maybe some small bait fish for those fish.
Not even small bait fish. I mean, they will eat some pretty good size brim and crappie.
Okay.
Again, their mouth is a pretty good bit bigger than a smallmouth. Our Alabama spots down here actually have a smaller mouth than the shoal bass do. So as aggressive as they are, man, I mean, they eat some pretty good sized stuff. They'll eat they'll eat a spotted bass in a heartbeat if they have the chance. And definitely brim. And if there is crappie, which, a couple of the rivers that we have that they're in, they'll eat those too. But yeah, mostly hellgrammites, crawfish, and smaller bait fish. But some of the rivers that we have don't have a ton of bait fish. We have some that are dam, generation rivers, and those have got some huge shad in them, like really big.
Yeah.
But But I mean, they eat everything. They eat catfish. I mean, you name it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Not picky. That's the type of fish you need to go after, Jay.
Hey,
so when you're only
can
throwing 2
catch 'em,
lures,
Jay.
so when you're only sticking to your 2 lures, at least you got a fighting chance, bro. I'm just saying.
Hey man, I think there's more than 2,
Yeah.
like at least 4. It's the colors, I think, is where I'm losing.
Well, did you see this comment real quick? JT Fishing watching on YouTube. He said, Brian, hit me up. I'll take you to the upper hooch. They don't get as big up there, but there's still plenty. But you know what the best part about that comment is? You didn't get an invite, Jay. Just saying.
I know. It's fine. It's fine. I'm just gonna.
Hey, neither did I.
Yeah.
I know, right?
JT, you're holding out on my guys, man.
Yeah.
That's not nice. That's not nice.
It's like Everett's like the star tonight.
I know, right? Like we're just the 2 schmoes that run the electronics and lights and all that good stuff. But man, that's cool.
Clearly, you do a better job running them than I do, though. So that's good.
Well, I wasn't gonna mention this, but I did see a comment in here earlier. I'm scrolling back. It was Patrick Randolph said, "Mr. Technology on in under 5 tonight."
Tell him I said I'm just trying to be like you, Logjam.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a story there.
It's one of the best ever. And yeah, I can't help it, Pat. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm about to throw you all the way under the bus. It's just too good of a story.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. Brian McClung and Patrick came down and stayed at my house. This was, of course, way pre-COVID and everything. And, man, we had a great time fishing for 3 days straight. The highlight we were out there with Fall Line Guide Service with Alan Radale. And the highlight of it for me was watching Patrick just fail a few times and then connect with a it was like 21, but the fish had the biggest shoulders on it. I mean, it was a tall, jolly, old fish, big fat tail. And seeing him connect on that thing after he had missed one and like just before that and was kind of toward the end of our day, it was kind of a Hail Mary kind of deal at a spot pretty close to where we were taken out at. And that was such a cool thing, super fun. And then the next day, we were on a different river and we didn't have Alan with us, I don't think. It was just me and the guys, and we had a decent day. But I was trying to just kind of fish behind them and not try to hit the good spots. And we had this little spot that I always catch some small ones, always. And the water was higher than usual because this was springtime. They were doing a lot of generation. And I said, Brian, if you want to ease over here, man, I was like, there's some small ones over here. You know, I'll make a cast. If I get a little nibble, we know they're here. You can just basically dead stick a soft plastic in here and you'll catch one without a doubt, which he'd already caught some nice ones the day before. But I was trying to just kind of keep us moving, keep us catching fish. And I just chucked the old trick worm in there, man, and had it sitting on the bottom and picked up. It was heavy, and I was like, it's a dink, you know, and went into it and still didn't think it was like a pretty good fish until it started really diving. Like as I was getting up close to the boat, it just kept peeling, drag. And Brian was just laughing. He was just like, typical, you know, dink, right, okay. And you catch it, and we're here to catch the fish, you know. And it ended up being a stud, man. It was like 5 pounds or close to it.
Oh, wow.
And you know, 20 and a half or 20 and 3/4. But Patrick, who is one of my, you know, true buddies in the team, he had the big fish still for the weekend, which was awesome. And he was going home just on cloud 9 the next morning. He was so pumped about the fact he was going to get a citation. He was going to get a hat. going to get all mailed from Georgia, which I've never fooled with any of that stuff, but he was going to do it because it was so special for him and such a cool story. And the next morning I wake up at like 7. They'd already left, to a text. And he was like, it was several texts, I think. It was like, hey, man, I don't want to wake you up, but do you have a plunger? I can't find one. And then like 20 minutes after that, all right, buddy, I'm so sorry to do this to you, but we got to leave. And him and Brian literally rolled out and left this thing with me.
All right, I understand logjam now.
It didn't get much better, man. The stories, I'm telling you.
That's pretty funny.
Well,
he'll never live it down in all of West Virginia either. The whole club, MSK, the entire club knows the story.
Note to self: don't invite him to my house.
Yeah. I mean,
or make sure you got the plunger out ready to go.
It's like sometimes, it just gets away from you. I mean, what can you say?
I mean, what were you feeding him? I mean, you said he was staying at your house. What were you guys eating?
Man, I don't remember, but we had a good time. My wife is a great cook. I remember, I think she cooked some backstrap and stuff, and we were having a good time and eating well. But honestly, Patrick, he's just one of the guys that I have so many great stories about him, and vice versa. That it makes for good storytelling. He was on a podcast just here a few weeks ago, and he finally unveiled and told the story to everybody, that even though now he serves as the regional director for our Mountain States, that I picked him up kind of by accident because I saw this dude had won, I think it was called like the Capital City Classic or something like that. And I was like, man, this guy needs to be on the team, This
Sure.
was kind of early in my director role with the National Pro Staff, and I reached out to him, and I'm like, man, congratulations. How long have you had your canoe? And he had his Frontier for a long time, some of those ugly green ones. And I'm like, you know what? I think you'd be good for the team, man. You're a stick. Like, you obviously win big events. And little did I know this was not that big of an event, and he won it like skipping a wacky rig, right around the launch or something like that. It's a good story. Not taking anything away from him. He's a good fisher.
I was gonna say, man,
but in my mind,
with the wacky rig.
Yeah. That's one of 4 baits that Jay uses, the wacky rig.
Patrick's a good fisherman, dude. He has shown me up, and obviously I'll never live down the fact that he caught this giant fish and then left me with a giant
log jam.
But he honestly, dude, he just gets such a kick out of the fact that finally, like, only 6 months or a year ago, I admitted to him, like, dude, I thought you were a big deal. Like, I thought the Capital City Classic was like the state championship or something. I completely miscalculated this. And he gets a big kick out of that.
That's hilarious. That's cool though, man. It's interesting, like you said, you got a ton of stories, man. And I think that's one of the best parts of fishing with folks, man, is looking back at those stories, whether it be a log jam or oh yeah, there's a bunch of dinks over here, and then you pull out a giant, it's like,
or somebody trying to like jump out of their kayak because there's a spider in it.
Yeah, I don't know who would do such a thing, screaming like a girl and stuff.
So now it's sister. Then I look up, like one day we're fishing. I look over him and he's like, and now this dude's like 6'4", right? He's like halfway out of the kayak already. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, there's a spider on the kayak. I'm like,
no,
really?
It wasn't on the kayak, dude. It came down out of a tree. It was the size of like 2 tarantulas put together.
Sure. Yeah. You should have seen how far, dude. He was almost in the water. That's how dedicated he was to find. He's like, I'm sitting down until I find it.
Yep.
I'm just like, what are you gonna do, man? It's like it's probably underneath your seat. I don't want to hear that.
No, I don't do spiders. I don't do snakes, and I don't do alligators. No, those 3. No.
Well, Jay, I got a great practical joke to play on them if you hit me up later. I saw you sent me a friend request.
I did.
Just get with me.
Oh, jeez.
You got a pursuit? You got a pursuit, right, Brian?
Yeah, I got a pursuit. Yep.
Oh, man. It's over, dude. I got you.
Everett, I thought we were friends, bro.
Yeah. I wonder if I could pull it up.
As long as it's on video, it's fair.
I got a feeling Dale Hollow next week is going to be very interesting. A week of gags. I mean, that's a good one.
Internal rod tubes can be awesome.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't be giving it away yet, man. It's like, it's funny because you're going to think it's fake. It's going to be real.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, nice. Oh, my God.
I'm going to pick it up and throw it, and it'll just like crawl up my arm.
I know.
Yeah, and not good.
Yeah, it's
not good. Yeah, Gibson's in the chat. He's giving me the info. He said in the rod tubes. Thanks, brother.
See, that's
trying to warn you.
Yeah, see?
That's just,
that's what a good team leader does.
Yeah. Well, see, what he's really doing is he's setting you up so you think that's where it's going to come from.
Probably right, because he'd be the first one to jump in on that gag.
All right, man.
You guys are going to have a 3-way group chat later tonight. This is how you get them. This is how you get them. I can already see it. I'm already freaking out. I'm like ready.
It's going to be good, man.
Dude, like there's ones out here, man. You should, it's so funny.
Outside of the studio here, like
it's going to be like Indiana Jones meets like Raiders of the Lost Ark meets Kai.
You should have seen him earlier today. Like I'm sitting up there, like there's this front stoop, and there's like this city of spiders around this light, and he's like, and he's just looking at me. He's like, it's coming down.
Yeah, there was one coming
down. You should move. I'm like, what? I'm like, that thing's so far away. It's kind of like, what is it? One of those Adam Sandler movies with the steamroller, like, or no, what's it called? The Zamboni. And
oh,
yeah. Oh no, that was what's it called? Well, we all know the movie, I think.
Yeah.
Austin Powers or something, but he's like just
Austin Powers.
Like the spider's just coming like super slow, and he's like, "You should move." I'm like, I don't really think I'm in trouble.
Oh man, that's too funny.
Well, if you hunt, you've had a spider in your face. I know that.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
It happens to me every time I go in the woods, just plastered right in my face.
I think the worst one was I got in the stand super early in the morning. It was like end of October, beginning of November, and like the sun was
like 8:45,
just starting to peak up, and there was a big owl like right over my left shoulder. I about jumped out of the tree stand. I mean, a big loud woo woo, like that'll scare you. Like it's still pretty much dark, man. Like
I remember we were talking about the lights, and I'm like, yeah, guys, like I got a red light, so when you go through, like, the deer can't see it as much and all this. He's like, no, I just use a regular light. I'm like, why? He's like, spiders, man.
Yeah.
See, I just pointed at the ground.
Dude, I've walked into a couple nasty
I'm with
webs
Brian,
before.
man. Like, if anything, you just take 2 lights in the tree with you, because then the deer's like, it's just a car. It's in the tree.
Yeah.
Nothing to be concerned about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cars fly now. It's fine.
It's one of those things. You got to fake it, man. You got to throw them off,
So this is a good segue. How often are you using your kayak to go hunting? Because you're putting up nothing but like bow pictures right now, which I'm liking.
To be honest with you, man, I have hunted 4 times. Our season's been going on for, almost a month, so not great. And none of them have been in my kayak yet, unfortunately. The first 2 times were with my dad, and those 2 times have been my little cousins. They're 11 and 12, and doing anything with them is awesome, but very, very challenging. So I think I need to separate the kayak hunting and the hunting with the little dudes, because I could see some disastrous stuff happening. But yeah, I'm going to be hitting it hard now that Mom and Dad's house is done, especially. So to be honest with you, though, man, I'm still really green at public land, and that's where I'm going to be tackling it the most. I have a couple areas of private where the kayak's actually going to be useful, but the public land around me, all of its water access, literally from North Georgia, the whole state has a lot of water access. But public land, I have public land hunted like 3 times ever. So I've just got a lot of learning to do in that part for sure.
I'm just waiting for the day Everett posts a pic of like a 12-point buck just draped over the front of his kayak. That'd be pretty sweet.
It's a goal, man. I don't know when or if that'll happen, but I hope it does. That's for sure.
I see a lot of the guys using
If not, there's always Photoshop.
True.
That's true, dude. I never thought of that.
Yeah. I know there's what is it? The Kayak Hunters group. There's a lot of guys that are utilizing the new canoes and throwing animals in there, turkey,
Frontier
deer,
12s especially.
Obviously, fowl hunting and everything. Actually, that's something I want to get into.
Yeah.
I've never used the kayak for a hunting excursion like ever, and it just looks really cool.
Yeah.
And I really like the new canoe designs because it's all open and there's plenty of functionality there. To be quite honest, I don't know. I'm really liking some of those designs. You never know, everybody. You might see me in a new canoe one of these days. I'm just gonna say it. Say it.
Let's just say he's on the verge of converting.
I've been looking at a lot of stuff lately, but for what I want to do, it kind of fits. Don't get me wrong. I still love my Jackson Liska. I love that thing to death. And I have no plans of getting rid of it, but the functionality of the new canoe.
Just admit it now, dude. You're getting a new canoe. Okay. Just
who said you can't have both, man?
This is true.
Exactly.
This is true. I know.
If you're not on the team, who cares if you have both?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
That's
no,
true.
Honestly, the Frontier 12, for the flaws that I would say it does have, which, it's got some, but it's just so consistently, it's a workhorse. You kind of can't beat a boat that's that stable, doesn't really paddle that bad, doesn't really track that bad, super comfortable. And man, when I hear of somebody like falling out of it or flipping it over, I'm like, how?
Yeah,
on earth did you do that? How's that even possible?
I can
which is
tell you,
spider.
I can tell you, no. I didn't fall out.
No,
this is a good story though. So, it was last year, I think, right when I went and did that. I went and did a talk at a local anglers club here. About kayak fishing in general. A lot of the guys fish out of boats and stuff, and they were interested in kayak fishing. So went down there, did a little intro to kayak fishing presentation, and one of the guys approached me, and he was like, I'd really like to try this out. Is there a way for me to try it out? If you take me out, whatever. So I worked it out with the local shop, Rocktown Adventures, and I was like, go into the shop, see what boat you like. And
shameless plug.
Rocktown Adventures right there.
Dude, that was almost on cue. That was a plan for anything. Great job.
But the guy ended up liking the Frontier 12. So I'm like, dude, we got a demo. I'll take you out on the water, show you how to paddle, things like that. And then we'll do a little fishing. And do all that. We start fishing, and we're fishing one of my little honey holes, and it's out deeper, fishing some sunken trees. And it was a little windy, so we were paddling up and drifting over the spot and then paddling back up. And I forget what boat I was in at the time, but he was drifting a little faster than me. And I had hooked up with one good fish, and I was just really hoping this guy would catch a fish. And I had my back turned to him, and next thing I know, I hear splashing, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, great, this dude hooked up. And I turn around and look back, and he's in the water up to his neck. And I'm like, what the heck happened, you know? So I go into rescue mode. I paddle over there real quick, and this guy's never been in a kayak before, so he doesn't really know how to do re-entry. That's probably something I should have talked to him about in case something happened. So we did it on the fly, but I'm like, you know, what happened? And he's like, well, I didn't really ask you, but I tried to stand up on the seat to pee, and I ended up in the water. so
I mean, let's be honest, it does take some skill, and you can't do that right from the very beginning.
You know what they call this, guys? They call this hubris. And it's just a tremendous overconfidence, and that is what that boat will give you almost immediately if you don't know what you're doing, because it's like, oh man, kayak fishing is easy, and definitely standing in a kayak is super easy, obviously.
But that was the thing. He wasn't standing in the kayak. He was trying to stand on the seat. And I'm like,
which
why would
swivels.
you need to stay? Yeah, exactly. It was an old swivel seat.
He didn't know any better.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, well, this is how we're going to get you back in the boat. And he's like, no, wait. He's like, I'm in the water right now. I might as well just go. So I had to give this guy his 30 seconds to relieve himself. It was very awkward. It was like the when we're little kids and like dude pees in the pool, you know.
Did you guys already engage? Like, did you already were you guys already holding hands or something before this?
No. He was just holding on.
That would have been great.
Of the boat.
He just been like, do I let go? Do I just hold on?
I feel like I can retell this story as it actually happened pretty accurately for you guys. Brian was in a Blue Sky Boat Works. And paying no attention whatsoever. Jay was actually the guy demoing the Frontier 12, and Jay did try to stand on the seat to pee. That part of the story was true. But when Brian said he paddled over to him, he was actually like hitting a torpedo or something like that. And when he pulled up to him, he kicked a ladder, and the ladder is like a pontoon boat ladder. It fell down into the water. And the rest of it is probably true too about Jay. He's like, just give me about 45 seconds. Hold on. And then I'll flip your pontoon boat and get in with you.
I mean,
that happened.
Were you there watching us or what?
You know what's great about that? I only lost 4 lures.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Oh man.
So I just got a great picture here. Apparently my camera froze when I was doing a little self chiropractic here. Let's see if I can show it to you guys. You probably won't be able to see it, but I have a bad habit of just kind of cracking my neck because I do have a cage in it, and apparently it froze when I was just like that.
Hey man, it's a new dance.
It'd be like my kid. He'll just like look you dead in the face and you're like, oh, like how are you not hurting yourself? He's like, it's fine. I feel good.
That was Ben Smith, and Ben Smith, I cannot do enough. Last year he invited me up to West Virginia, Ohio. I'm sorry, Pike County, Ohio, to hunt with him, and that was right when Mom got sick, so I wasn't able to make it. And he ended up putting an arrow in, kind of like the buck that we'd been watching. He'd been kind of including me in everything all year, which was super exciting. So I'm going back. I'm going up there the end of this month. And just him keeping that invitation open to me has been so awesome. That is a quality dude right there.
Heck yeah,
and I can't wait to boat hunt with him.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, good luck, man. I haven't seen a buck all year. I've just been seeing does. And maybe a really young buck.
It's a nubbin.
Yeah, he's pretty small. I got 2 trail cams.
Has it been warm there, guys? What's your weather been like?
It's been fluctuating, man. Like at night, it's been getting down into the 50s. We did have a few nights where it got down into like 40s. And then during the day we had last week was really cold where like it was a high of 60. But this week it's warmed back up, but I think we're back to a colder trend next week, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be warm through the weekend.
So the high today was 87 with a heat index of like 93.
Oh,
Jesus.
well, look at you.
It ain't like that here, man.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I was just telling him, I didn't like, so yesterday they were deer by both the trail cams. Today, nothing. Like nothing's gone past them.
They don't like you, Jay.
I know.
We've had a little bit of movement. I mean, our daylight movement's been, still mostly the small ones. I don't know if you guys have this down there, but our deer, for the most part, if you have any ag land, it's kind of like 5:45 to 6:45. The little ones, the babies, are going to run out first. They always just run out, make a lot of noise, act stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And then usually 20 to 30 minutes later, the mamas will kind of ease their way on out. Spikes usually around that same time. But our older, more mature bucks, I mean, anything really 3.5 and older doesn't happen until, that last like 15 to 30 minutes of daylight usually. Yeah. And it has definitely been brutal with the heat though, because down here, I mean, that 15 to 30 minutes dissolves into when you're out of the stand really fast. So I'll be honest, I got busted like 3 out of my 4 sits. It wasn't always my fault, but it has not been a good start for me yet. So I got some making up to do.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, I mean, it's still early in the season. Rut hasn't even started. They haven't even thought about chasing yet.
I know. I'm excited. I want to find more turkey though. Like that's important.
Yeah, that's another funny story. The other day I knew Jay was in the tree stand. He keeps talking about wanting to shoot a turkey. So I sent him a picture. I was up in the office and I noticed there was 8 turkeys in my backyard. And I was like, sent him the picture and I was like, how's your sit going?
Yeah. It's like, and a lot of people don't realize like where Brian lives and everything west.
Yeah.
It's like prime turkey habitat. And most of that area is private. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you really can't utilize it unless
you got permission.
You got permission or something. And he's got him like literally, he's had him on his back deck.
Chasing my dog around circles.
Yeah. I mean, like you didn't have to try. I mean, how would that be? You just open up your back sliding door.
You can't tell people my plans, bro.
I mean, nobody will hear that, Bo.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, when he posts a giant gobbler with like 7 beards, you don't want to tell everybody.
Yeah.
It was eating the dog food.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I never thought about that. Thanks. So I'm gonna throw a picture up here, man. And we didn't talk about this last time, I don't believe, but I think we definitely need to talk about this.
Ginormous.
It is an Atlantic shad. And, honestly, pretty easy to catch, as you can tell. All you need is like a really big bread ball, and you just drift it under a giant, like a milk jug, and that's how you catch them. The old Atlantic shad.
It's interesting because it looks a lot like a tarpon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, kind of looks like Miami or something in the background there.
Yeah, to try to hide that skyline.
Yeah, jeez, I tell you what, man. So I've hunted. Wow, get it off your brain, buddy. I fished for tarpon a little bit along the east coast of Florida and also on the west coast of Florida, and this was actually with Brandon Barton, Emerald Coast Kayak Charters. I haven't considered him like a professional guide so much as just kind of a buddy. Marty Mood actually took me the first time. I was just down there on vacation, and we were chatting one night, and he's like, dude, why don't you just come with me? We'll just try to go catch one night. And we saw a bunch that night, but didn't hook up on anything. And then decided to go back down and mess. And it's just like, man, I've got this Torpedo. Thing's got a ridiculous range on it. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to go catch one of these things. And he's like, man, all right, if this is the case, then we're going to be swinging for the fence because it'll be early in the season. But why don't you come kind of in this date range? And you have to know it's zero or hero. That's exactly what he said. And happened to be hero that day, man. I hooked up once and I landed it. And so I'm real grateful for him. I mean, I've told you guys before, all of the big fish that I've been fortunate enough to catch, for the most part, there's somebody else I have to thank for it in some way, shape, or form. So in this case, definitely Brandon. I went back this year and we didn't have perfect conditions. It wasn't as good as it was that day. And we saw a few, but we couldn't really run them down. I stayed out there by myself after he went home and grounded out. I ended up catching a big king. That's actually in that same album where these are at. Big, beautiful king. But this wasn't a good year for me with the tarpon. It didn't happen. But I'm actually hoping to go back to like Destin, Pensacola area next month. And if I can, see if there's anybody still hanging around. It's pretty late in the season, but hoping to close the year out with one more. That would be really cool.
Well, I mean, even Bart Swab was telling us that tarpon are incredibly hard to bring in. I mean, let alone hook up. So, I mean, even just to pull in something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge.
Be what, 5 foot fish?
I think it's closer to 6
inches.
It's easily a 60-inch fish, or maybe even I don't know. I think we're pushing
for
6
reference.
feet.
Like, I mean, I'm 6'2", 220.
That's 6 feet.
So a picture, and I don't know, man. As far as like weight goes, they mainly go off of weight, and I really have no way to gauge that because it's the biggest fish I've ever held. But you can see, I'm not a small guy. You just look at my hands around its jaw. I mean, they're really big. The coolest thing about them is just how old they are.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't realize that this fish could be like 35, 40 years old. I mean, they're super old. Not only do they look like a dinosaur, but relative to other fish, they basically are a dinosaur by the time they get to that size. Mature sizes. But the crazy thing about it, man, is this is not even a big one. I mean, I guess you guys have seen enough pictures to know this is like a decent mature one. Not bad, but decent. But they get way bigger than this. I mean,
that thing's half the size of your yak,
probably. It is, yeah. But I mean, I would say now that I've looked at enough pictures of other ones, this one's probably like 120 to 140 maybe. And guys catch 220s and 240s. I mean, it just blows my mind to think they don't get a lot longer, but they get a lot just bigger than this.
I kind of remember from the past, like Bay Winkleman in a canoe, in some shallow flats, probably some backwater. I don't know. I would think a lot of people, but he picked up this thing and he was standing up and he's like pulling this thing up and this thing is still touching the bottom of the boat.
Right.
I mean, it's an amazing. I mean, I think of the force.
Yeah.
That thing has.
I mean, did you have to put the Torpedo on like full reverse while you were fighting that thing? So you didn't end up in Cuba or Puerto Rico?
Actually, yeah, it's kind of neat. Actually, the story, man. We did not see a single pod this day.
Okay.
And we actually saw more this last time when I was there. But it was just kind of like one of those, you just keep covering water over and over again. You're making a lot of passes, and and drifting and pass and drift and pass and drift. And I had kind of looped, and as I was turning to come back and make a pass, the drag just started screaming.
Oh.
And what's just stuck in my mind is that I had, for some reason, just probably like 10 minutes before that, which we'd been out there for hours, I had just reached back and loosened my drag up a little bit because I was kind of thinking in the back of my mind, I'm not sure if I had my drag set right. It might have been too tight. And you know how in retrospect you look back and you're like, maybe that was it. Maybe that was the reason that I went 1 for 1, because it doesn't always happen like that. But this fish didn't jump a lot, but it jumped at this moment I'll never, ever forget. It was, that drag went off. I slammed my steering, which, the new canoes have this really nice cable steering. I slammed it over so it was turning itself, and I could kind of reach back with both hands and pull the rod out and kind of turn into it, lay into it. And just as that fish realized I was connected to the other end of it, when I put some weight into it, that's when it just went out of the water, just thrashing and
Tail
shaking.
dancing.
And at that very moment, a guide who was out there in his flats boat, it was a skiff with like 2 other guys on it. They saw it happen like at that very second. And Brandon got a Facebook message probably 2-3 hours later, and he was like, "Hey, dude, one of my clients like videoed this."
No
And
way.
I think it was just it was just like a live photo from an iPhone, but I got that from the dude, and that was super cool, man. I mean, because I didn't have a GoPro going or anything. Of course, you guys know I'm great with technology, but
We didn't say that.
No video, no GoPro.
Logjam was the
you
one
got
that talked
you got a
about that.
Torpedo. I mean,
I do have that kind of technology.
I'll trade you, bro.
But no, man, it was a really good experience. Almost every epically big fish of any kind I've ever caught, I have just a really clear memory of something about it, and that's why I keep doing it, for sure.
Well, I think that's one thing, man. Like, this is the second podcast we've done with you, and we've worked through this timeline of stories. And I mean, thinking about it right now, like some of the trophy fish you've caught, dude, it's pretty amazing, dude. And I think that's one thing that that makes you special. I mean, we when we're searching around for guests and stuff, I think that was the one thing when we talked about talking with you, it's like very unique, man, whether it's hunting and or fishing, like you're just a all around trophy hunter. You know what I mean? And it's pretty cool that you're so versatile and chase these multiple different species of fish anywhere and everywhere, dude. It's super cool, man. It's something to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes me want to use.
I'm really.
You're gonna get Jay out of his comfort zone.
I've told you guys before, man. I'm a grateful man, and I'm a grateful man for a lot of reasons. But I'm a very spiritual man, and a very grateful spiritual man, and whenever I see creation like this, it reminds me of the power of creation and the power of God. And I cannot believe the opportunities that we're given, by his children. So it's been an amazing thing, just making some of those connections from fishing. I'll be honest, I never really felt that way about tournaments. They never gave me the same kind of connection that the just raw experience of one really special, really giant fish. But as I'm getting a little bit older, there's a lot of things that do that for me, and those experiences, it broadens a lot. I was thinking the other night we completely ruined our second hunt in a row with these 2 little guys that I just love very much. My little cousins. The first hunt, I let them sit on the ground up against a tree because they had done really good with that last year a few times. And I let them sit that way, and we had 3 does coming in, and I had one at like 18 yards, but it was quartered to me, and it saw them. I mean, clear as a bell, both of them, and it was stomping and staring at them and stomping. I've set up a really sick arrow setup I'll tell you guys about later, but at the time I just had kind of one of my lighter, more run-of-the-mill setups, and I was like, this isn't a good shot. I shouldn't take this. So I didn't even try it. But the other night we didn't see anything. They kind of were loud again, and you put 2 little boys in a ground blind above them in my tethered saddle, and I see the whole thing shaking, like sticks falling off the ground blind. They're laughing and cutting up in this thing. And I was like, we're not going to see anything, But I looked up and just saw this beautiful sunset, and there was a big old owl calling, and I let one of them sit in my lap and drive us out the driveway of the place. And I was like, this is the kind of stuff that makes great memories, and it's way more important than what we shot tonight.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So that's kind of the big fish thing for me, man, is just memories. I have a memory behind every single one of those pictures that I'll probably never forget. And it's just what makes me happy, and I have I mean, I am quite sure that Jackson Orr is going to remember every minute of today and yesterday and maybe all week. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I think that's what the outdoors experience should be about, is creating those memories that make you feel super connected.
Mm-hmm.
Amen to that.
I agree. I just took my boy out too last Friday. He was sitting at the base of the tree, but I put like one of those ground turkey blinds around him, and he was in full camo. Yep. And there's still a lot of green out here, a lot of leaves and everything. But I ended up getting a coyote. But we had 2 deer that came off to the side where I had no shot whatsoever. They were making so much noise. They didn't even care. But, they never came into range, So I was like, man, but he got to experience that. So he was totally digging it. So it was pretty cool to kind of at least share that, part with him. And then, but being out there, it's like, that's what he's more of the outdoors kid. He's really interested in it. So I'm trying to give him that experience as much as I can. But I mean, to your point, it's just nice being outside. You know, I mean, I was sitting in the tree stand just staring at the top of the trees. I don't even remember how long.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of zoned out and just like.
That's why you didn't see any deer, man.
Yeah. I was like, I'm just watching these squirrels that keep trying to narc me out every 5 seconds. But no, it's just what an experience, it is to be outside just in general.
Yeah, man. I think that's a good positive note to end on. Right there is Everett's statement there, man. I mean, I couldn't agree more. Everett, we'll give you the floor, man. Close it out. Shout outs, thank yous, anything like that, my friend.
I mean, I know the main reason, just calling it like it is, the main reason that I'm here is because of my awesome opportunity I have with New Canoe. So I'm always grateful for my role there as National Pro Staff Director. But part of what makes it so much fun is getting to just be a cheerleader and a fan. And that's what I've been this week. So I think my shout out this week is to the team and the way they represented out there at Gunnersville. The last time I was at Gunnersville, that I think I won a competition bracket or something. I won some money out there. And I remember thinking when they were all headed out there, man, these guys have got a really cool opportunity to see a beautiful place. It really is an incredible fishery, and I hope they have a good time. And it seemed like it was a really hard tournament for a lot of guys, but a lot of our guys had a really good time. They had fun. They fished together as a team. And that makes me really proud, man. I'm more proud after all the time that's been invested as, building this team as the director. I'm more proud of guys that can work together as a team and have fun, be gentlemen, be professional, be ambassadors. I'm so much more proud of that than any trophy or any check. And that's just a lot of who we are, I think, as a company. I hope so. It continues to kind of make me feel like I'm in the right place. And a lot of our teammates feel the same way, that we care more about character and we care more about, kind of who we are than, just selling stuff and making money. And I want it to continue to be that way, and I think it will. And I'm so glad to be part of that. And we've got some stuff coming. I don't want to reveal too much, but we're far from done. We've just being a smaller company and being the kind of company that's very conservative and diligent, and trying to keep the heart and soul of who we are. A lot of this stuff takes more time, and that can be to the great frustration of some folks who see bigger companies that have millions more dollars of capital funding, allowing them to do a lot more innovation and think faster. And that hasn't been our ability or blessing, but we've definitely been in a position here lately to do more, and we're excited about that, and we've got some cool stuff in the works. So thank you, everybody, for your support.
Sweet, man. Well, we're looking forward to seeing what's coming out. So you might have to come back for round 3. You end it,
Or
so
Blake,
you
man.
always have a way to come back on. Smartest guest ever. Just saying. But I dig it, man. I dig it. Well,
Hey, Jay, I just shamelessly plug, man. It's not too late to put something in your arsenal for hunting season. Just saying.
Just saying. Just saying.
I couldn't even imagine what you're talking about.
You just don't want to admit it. It's good. It's good. It's good.
I'm just subtly dropping a hint. That's all.
Yeah, that's all. Just a little one.
That was like,
I mean,
stupid.
with Jay, you kind of got to take the hint and slap him across the face with it. That's just the way Jay operates.
That's right. I'm like, I was telling him I'm like a 50% closer. I can get him in the door, but I don't know if it's like, it's like,
right on.
You guys run a fun show, man. I enjoy being on here.
Yeah,
I appreciate you guys inviting me. I'll be back anytime. I would love for you guys to bring on, other guys on the team. We've got some really, really good tournament guys that might be good to invite on, as the season winding down. But Blake's a pretty good host too, pretty good guest too. And I'm not gonna lie, he's been on Westbrook Wednesday before and stuff, and he's got a brain for the business side of this that I think is always interesting for people who kind of want to know what happens behind the curtain sometimes.
Yeah, that's been discussed. I know he was moving and things like that. So, but
now he's running from a second hurricane in like a month.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know what's worse.
That's the salt life, right?
Yeah.
Is it like that meme is like, about the salt stickers? Like,
Absolutely. Well, brother, we very much appreciate your time, and thanks again for joining us tonight. And looking forward to the next one, man. Stick around a second. Jay, anything?
No, hey, thanks for coming on, man. It's always great talking to you.
Awesome.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, guys.
Don't be nice to Jay.
That's right.
You didn't take your hand. Just saying.
After the show.
Oh boy. All right. With that being said, guys and gals, thank you everybody who tuned in tonight. Good luck to everybody that made the top 100 of the national championship. That'll be fishing tomorrow. Good luck to all you guys and gals. Hope you guys smash them all. So until next time, boys and girls, deadlines, smooth paddling. Peace.